Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on the mountain of the other side. And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them,
Why do you come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us. I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together.
When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to battle. And David was the youngest. David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse said unto David,
Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000. And look how thy brethren fare, and take their part.
And David rose up early in the morning, and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to fight, and shouted for the battle. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine Goliath by name, out of the armies of Philistine, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And David spake to the man that stood by him, saying,
What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?
And Elad, his elder brother, heard when he spake unto the man, and his anger was kindled against David. And he said,
Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride, and thy naughtiness of thine heart, and thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle.
What have I done? Is there not a cause?
And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul,
Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight this Philistine.
Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. Moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine.
Go, and the Lord be with thee.
And Saul armed David with his armor, but he put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said to Saul,
I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them.
And David put them off of him, and he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in the scrip, and his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine, and the Philistine came on, and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy, and of fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David,
My dog, that thou comest to me with staves. Turn.
and the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David,
It's actually David says it.
oh, and David
Come to me, I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. Thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, boy. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled. This day the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee. And will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowl of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God of Israel, and that all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
And it came to pass when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in the bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in the forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon the face of the earth.
You gotta stand up so I can actually hit you.
Kneel down.
Down! Get his head off. Oh, I missed.
Get his head off.
Get his head off, boys. Keep filming. What? Get his head off. Chair.
Use the chair.
With the flag.